The Chair, Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, Professor Raphael Munavu, members of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, our Cabinet Secretary for Education, the Principal Secretaries, Ministry of Education, senior Ministry of Education officials, our development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great privilege for me to represent His Excellency the President, Dr. William Ruto, in officially launching this Presidential Working Party on educational reforms. I am well aware that this distinguished assembly has brought together eminent professionals, high achievers, impactful citizens and public servants with substantial track records in matters to do with education, training and skills development. Congratulations on your appointment to serve on this working group, and thank you for making yourselves available for national duty at this time when this country and its millions of learners need you most. The terms of reference set out in the presidential instrument that created this team are clear and precise. Kenya Gazette Notice 11920 of 29 September 2022 makes it clear that the task before you is monumental and that your work shall go a long way in providing clarity on the many issues that have persistently plagued our education sector, obstructing the nation from commitment to educate and empower its citizens effectively, efficiently, and in a sustainable manner. We are confident that you possess, individually and collectively, the requisite capacity to deliver and make lasting contribution to the sustainable development of this nation through a fit-for-purpose, responsive, relevant education that reflects our unique identity and culture as well as our aspirations. Many stakeholders have expressed concern that they may have been left out in the constitution of this working group. I believe that one of your most urgent tasks is to send a strong signal that your operations and practices shall demonstrate inclusivity, public participation, stakeholder engagement by endeavoring to listen to every voice and, wherever possible, enlist necessary assistance to ensure that your objectives are realized. There is no doubt that as a nation, we are united by seriousness about who we are and who we aspire to be. It is critical that we are able to provide assurance that the means and aids of education are aligned with national intent as expressed in our administration's plan, National Development Roadmap, as well as the Constitution. This is especially urgent because while there is evident vigor in the discrete activities of various actors in the education sector, we need to be able to say the same about their overall coherence. To do so, we must undertake a summative evaluation that answers our most important questions and resolves the contradictions, overlaps, and other inefficiencies holding us back from the promise of a more robust performance. From early childhood education all the way to university, we must forge a path that coordinates the players in the subsectors and reconcile the workings of the subsectors to produce a coherent framework for education system governance in order to align it with broader national aspirations. The rule of law, good governance, global competitiveness, economic growth, national stability, and culture depend on a sound educational system focused on the full expression of its citizens' capabilities. Kenya's commitment to the provision of quality education is demonstrable. We invest 5.7% of our GDP, or 28% of the national budget, in education. This is significantly above both the global and the sub-Saharan average, and actually compares favorably with the international benchmarks. The big issue we have to resolve relates to quality and equity in general, and especially as it relates to access in arid and semi-arid regions, informal settlements, and areas affected by high incidence of poverty. Indeed, obstacles to schools' participation in these communities not only undermine our achievements in promoting access through the free primary education and free day secondary education program, that to a large extent affect children from disadvantaged and vulnerable backgrounds, compounding the social justice problem. This can be seen in the fact that over the past 10 years, survival rates in primary and secondary schools have dropped, and as a result, many school-age children are out of school. We therefore look forward to recommendations that will enable us formulate aggressive affirmative measures to urgently bridge the gap in access to education in disadvantaged counties and communities. Our administration is committed to the domestication of teacher recruitment and deployment at entry level, in keeping with the best practices set out in UNESCO teacher deployment practice. Connected to this is the urgent need to manage challenges resulting from teacher delocalization. Accordingly, we have committed to replace the delocalization policy with a nationalization program that offers incentives for those teachers who choose to serve outside their local communities and emphasizes productivity. Our plan also commits us to invest in a minimum essential package of capacities and facilities in primary and secondary schools. The aim is to assure consistent access to basic services. It also cushions those schools with low enrollment and enables them to meet school operational fixed costs. As you may be aware, a vibrant technical and vocational education and training system lies at the core of our bottom-up model. Our commitment is to expand and equip TVET institutions across the country to be able to absorb more than 500,000 youths who graduate from basic education institutions annually. To unlock the immense benefits associated with this endeavor, the operational policy and legal framework across the entire education and training sector must be rationalized. We therefore look forward to receiving and implementing your clear recommendations for the overdue appropriate review. Indeed, coherence in the policy framework is indispensable for our education system to support rapid socio-economic transformation. Over the years, numerous legal and regulatory apparatus have been established to deliver various mandates within the sector. As a result, many institutions often perform similar roles, render identical services, or address the same issues, sometimes without consultation or coordination, resulting in unnecessary competition, conflict, and wastage of scarce resources. Your recommendations on the synchronization of TVET training to maximize synergies and coherently deliver on important national priorities are much anticipated. The competence-based education and training curriculum is intended to resolve the skills mismatch that exists between the training system and the labor market. It establishes guidelines for the implementation of an industry and business-led TVET model, which strictly enforces industry-validated occupational standards under the TVET Act. To guarantee consistent output of competitive, skilled workforce, we urge you to establish an effective linkage between the competence-based curriculum, CBC, and the competence-based education and training, CBET, and recommend modalities of which university academic programs can be reviewed for better alignment with the labor market demand. The prevailing education and training system majorly consists of silos whereby programs are inconceivably different with one institution and the next. As a result, education is cumbersome and expensive, denying learners the flexibility and mobility that work and life often demands, and forcing them to make suboptimal choices. Ladies and gentlemen, you have an opportunity to explore ways of developing and implementing a sound national credit accumulation and transfer framework that applies across the entire education and training system. The university is the apex of knowledge, creation and dispersal, and thus is essential to sustainable development of any nation. Through research and critical inquiry, the university provides solutions to problems facing society and helps countries anchor development agendas on a sound foundation of knowledge. We need our universities to reposition themselves more powerfully and in the national development agenda by playing a more pronounced role in education. This calls for a review of curricula as well as a structure and mode of delivery. It is time to recalibrate the university curriculum to incorporate more local content with synchronizing it with the aspirations and imperatives of the current era. The demands of industry and concerns of the community must resonate throughout university facilities and reflect its outputs. It is time to deliver a holistic education experience that takes into account that optional intersection of the classroom and the community as learning spaces. This calls for the achievement of the indispensable qualities of transformational education, provision of adequate learning resources, assurance of curricular relevance, balance between theory and practice, engaged faculty with high expectations, and motivated students. In turn, campuses must be enriched with opportunities through robust career services, diverse co-curricular activities, high student engagement, employer involvement, sustainable incubation of innovations. For its part, communities must contribute through internship and service learning opportunities. Modern and emerging teaching techniques must find their way into our lecture rooms, and education must attain the quality that anticipates a stronger value proposition for universities by investing multidisciplinary skills in students. Multi-skill learning and flexibility prepares youths for jobs of the future in a time when nearly half of the existing careers are going to be extinct and tomorrow's jobs are yet unknown. How do universities, nevertheless, prepare young people to remain relevant? That is the question of the day. This question this working group must grapple with. Given our development aspirations, globally competitive universities are now an existential imperative for our country. Exposure beyond our borders and the exchange of ideas on a global scale is therefore unavoidable. Collaborations, linkages, networking, joint consultancies, and community outreach programs must become a regular feature of higher education if we are to have any chance of achieving our goals. Today, Kenya has more than 70 universities. Have we as a nation felt their impact significantly? This is a disconnect that you are invited to dissect and resolve. We are looking to you for ways positioning Kenya to harvest the array of possibilities with which our rich spectrum education and training institutions is endowed. We call on you especially to recalibrate the optimal balance between science, technology, engineering and mathematics, and social sciences because, just as men shall not live by bread alone, radical socio-economic transformation shall not be powered by science, technology, engineering and mathematics alone. We want our highest levels of education and knowledge to stay grounded in our community grassroots and establish their relevance, feasibility, and positive influence. There is an inevitable bottom-up dimension to university impact and vigor, grounded on strong engagements with communities. This is indispensable for courses in the social sciences, agriculture, health, education, and business, among others. Finally, our nation's progress to the next level of development will be powered by achievements in science, in innovation, and technology transfer. Commercialization and patterning of research outputs is key to making it sustainable by anchoring a strong incentive framework in the research agenda. It is therefore urgent for communities, universities, and industries to seamlessly be interlinked. Universities that demonstrate a high index of effective interlinkage will be more competitive and able to unlock the next frontier of sustainability through increased student enrollment and funding. Your terms of reference are self-explanatory. Your capabilities are above reproach. Your commitment is beyond question. It is now your turn to get to work and demonstrate to Kenya what promise lies within reach, waiting to be unlocked through appropriate educational sector reforms. Your recommendations are highly awaited, and none more so than those touching on the CBC, which every household anticipates and which will touch on the future education of more than 8 million learners. This is a heavy mandate you have been called to bear. Nevertheless, we are confident that you are more than equal to the task. The government, led by His Excellency the President, looks forward to regular briefings on your progress towards your final report, whose contents are eagerly expected. I wish you good luck in this assignment, and may God bless you. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say, the outgoing CS, we want to thank you for your commitment in assisting to put this team in place. You have expressed patriotism that though you are outgoing, you did not just walk away and say, let other people come and take care of it. And you have been very committed, and you have really assisted in getting this team to get to work. Asante sana. And I want to assure you, we are not in a hurry to get rid of you. Take your time. This is your country, this is your government, and although there will be an incoming CS, I am sure you hold his hand, and you are a senior citizen who has served this country with distinction, and when need arises and we need your input and advice, I'm sure the President will be able to call upon you to come and help us. I agree we may be similar in many instances in talking our mind. The only difference is that the government you served, you could not talk openly without reprieve. The one I serve is an open government. You say what you must say, and you say the truth as it is. Professor Munavu and your team, the way the outgoing CS has said, tell us the truth, raw as it is, and don't look back. We are not interested in being praised and being told what you want to hear. Please listen to the people of Kenya and come up with a report that reflects what Kenyans want and what they feel, however bitter it is. You know, in the previous administration, all meetings of this level and other levels, all the people who are making contributions belong to a praise and worship team. We are not interested in praise and worship. All of us have praise and worship teams in the churches where we go on Sunday. For the purposes of assisting President William Ruto and the government, those who have been given duties, please be frank and be true, because truth sets everybody free. And you cannot build a country on lies and burying your head in the sand. We must confront the challenges ahead of us, and the only way to confront those challenges is to be truthful and factual. So we are looking upon this team to go around the country, listen to everybody. The Ruto administration believes in continuous engagement to enrich his leadership. President William Ruto is clear that when he has a good idea, he is prepared to listen from anybody, from any Kenyan, for a better idea. And his good idea and that better idea from other Kenyans combined will make the best idea for this country. None of us has monopoly of knowledge. Not President William Ruto, not I, not Ezekiel Machogu. Nobody in this country has monopoly of knowledge. It is therefore our management style to have continuous engagement with Kenyans, professionals businessmen, Kenyans of all walks of life who know one or two things to enrich our thinking so that we can lead this country to prosperity. I want to assure the educational sector players who are here, the professors, the teachers, the education officials, the government of President William Ruto has no intention whatsoever to invite you to help us in our politics. We have no such intention. Just do your work. And your work is to look after our children, to educate them, take care of them, and prepare them for the future. What was happening in the previous administration will not happen for the time we will be in office. Let everybody do what you are good at. Let the teachers teach. Don't invite them to help you in politics. And I want to say, we are aware there are teachers in Kirinyaga and elsewhere who were punished when they refused to sell Project Azimio. That issue will be addressed. Those teachers must be given back their dignity because it is wrong. I want to assure you that you shall get your respect from the President and I and our team. Never will it happen in this country under our leadership when we go to an institution and dress down a teacher or a lecturer in front of students and pupils, as happened to Professor Inaina in Kenyatta University. It will never happen. The teachers of this country, the lecturers, must be given their due respect and dignity. And where there are issues that we need to raise with them, we shall call them in the privacy of our offices and discuss the issues and the challenges, and in a dignified manner come up with a solution. I don't think it is right to lecture, to dress down a teacher in front of his students. It is not right, and that will not happen in our administration. I want to give you that assurance. And therefore, as I wind up, let me also confirm, for the avoidance of doubt, because the Star newspaper, you keep on twisting what we say, so that if you want to twist, you can go ahead and twist. The CBC is not being repealed. What this good team is doing is to look at it, get the views of stakeholders and the people of Kenya to keep and improve what is good and to address challenges of where there could be weaknesses for our children. That is the position. Number two, we had our plan, our manifesto, our educational charter. There are several things that we promised the teachers. The issue of delocalization that has destroyed families. The Ruto administration is for a strong family unit to keep families together, especially more so of those teachers and those Kenyans who are headed to retirement. We want to assist them to prepare for retirement. We'll be engaging with the TSC next week so that the issue of delocalization is dealt with once and for all, and teachers who are taken to places and their families put in an awkward situation, that matter is addressed so that we build strong family ties for a stronger nation. We also made a promise of employing 116,000 teachers in 2 years. We are having an engagement with the TSC and the Ministry of Education next week to roll out a program on how that will be achieved progressively. Of course, in very difficult circumstances. I said during Inauguration Day, and some Kenyans had an issue that I'm too truthful, and I should not be truthful when they are visitors. But truth is truth whether they are visitors or whether we are locals. I want to reiterate once more, for the avoidance of doubt, we have inherited a dilapidated economy, and we have work to do to turn around the economy of this country. And we'll be calling upon all of you to bear with us because it is not easy. we are having a big challenge in terms of raising funds for government programs, because all the money we are collecting from Treasury, all of it is going to service public debts and to pay salaries. And therefore, there are many measures that will be taken to address that situation. But I want to give you hope. Last night, the President and I sat with the KRI for 7 hours. We parted at midnight to agree on how we collect more revenue so that we can collect about 3 trillion shillings by the end of the year to be able to fund our current and development budget. So don't give up. All is not lost. Despite the fact that we have a difficult situation, we are working on it, and everybody is coming along. And in the fullness of time, we will turn around the economy of this country. First and foremost, in the first 2 years, God willing, to return Kenya where President Mwai Kibaki left us, and progressively turn around the economy to improve the quality of lives and put money in the pocket of everybody, including teachers and educational stakeholders, so that people can improve their quality of life. So mimi nimeshukuru sana. I'm also a product of good education. So when I'm here, I'm very happy. If I did not go to school, I'm not sure I would be here. I would be in a village somewhere called Wamunyoro. The name doesn't sound very nice, Professor. But that is where I came from. And it is also possible for you to come from an unknown village and go somewhere. Dr. William Ruto was selling chicken. He went to a primary school called Kamagut. He had no shoes. Today he is the President of the Republic of Kenya. Yeah? By 2 things, God's will and good, sound education. So we have a duty as leaders to do everything within our power to give our peoples and our learners a similar environment that we were given by our parents and the government then, so that one day those little children in primary school in standard 2 and 3, one day they can be here as deputy president, they can be state house as president by getting good and quality education. So, Professor Munafu, you have a job to do, and I have requested you kindly invite the members of the National Assembly to come and present. The reason why I recommend that you involve the members of the National Assembly is that collectively they have a budget every year of about 42 billion, and 90% of that money goes to education. So it is important that you bring them on board, seek their views, so that when we implement the reforms that you shall recommend to government, the members of the National Assembly and the National Government Constituency Development Fund is part of that intervention. It is good to bring them on board because they control huge amounts of money meant for the educational sector. And if we have synergy with the members of the National Assembly, that whatever recommendations you are making, they are also part of those recommendations. I have no doubt in my mind they will be very happy because they are very passionate about education to put that 40 billion or so to assist us in whatever recommendations you shall come up with. So I really want to wish you well. Please listen to everybody. This country is a democratic country. Everybody has a right to say what you want. Talk to everyone. Talk to the unions. Talk to KEPSHA. Talk to KESHA. Talk to the teachers in primary schools. Talk to people in ECD. Talk to the private schools. Talk to people in special schools. Talk to anybody who cares to say something about education. And I also ask the people of Kenya, please don't stay at home and criticize the recommendations when they are pronounced, yet you are not available to come and say something. Because the people of Kenya have that problem. They stay at the shopping centers and criticize everything there. You know, and yet when they are called to say something, they don't say. But they are the first ones to criticize anything that has been rolled out. I'm inviting all critics, including the press. We also want to hear your views. Don't just sit on Sunday and write columns criticizing what has been proposed. Prepare a paper as the people of the fourth estate and come to this working party and present what you think can help this country in matters of education. So ile wajuaji yote wanajua mambo ya masomo, hii ndio nafasi yenu, mulete hiyo ujuaji iangaliwe na ifanyiwe kazi. Don't just sit there and criticize everything. Is that not what happens? No, I went to a secondary school called Irori outside my home, and we had Harambe there. And it's only women who are there, like 90%, and myself and a few other men who are feeling very intimidated. All the men, and the father of the children were at the shopping center. And because the loudspeakers were very loud, they were there. So ukitoa 20,000 nasema hapana, hiyo ametoa kidogo, kwa nini aongeze? And then they are at the trading center criticizing every donation, and they are not part of the process. So we want to ask the people of Kenya, please don't be bystanders in this process. Don't wait for the recommendations to be critics. It is time for now. If you have something that you think can help our educational sector, if you have anything you think can be put in the recommendations as our reform process to have a better education system for our children, it is a time for you to come out and say so. Once the system of listening has been shut, you keep quiet forever and don't say anything about it. But you have an opportunity, and I'm sure this team will accord you the opportunity to come and say what you need to say. Kwa hayo mengi, asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki na tunawatakia mema.